to success.
Ill will make the beat bounce.
Let's talk about keys to success.
What's happening, what the business is. I'm Renaldo Allen, and welcome to Everything in Between. Before we start getting into what today's topic is and all that other good fun stuff, I told myself I was going to start putting this at the beginning of every video. These videos are for me. That younger version of myself, first coming in 19 years old, trying to figure out this military thing. I wish I could have these conversations with that person. So if you fit that script coming from whatever your beginners is, but if you're young, middle age, even early 30s, but you're still trying to figure out this military thing and you just wish you just had somebody had that real type of conversation with you, luckily for you, you in the right spot. So today we're going to be talking about the things that the Navy really don't tell you or your recruiter don't tell you prior to coming into the military. Okay, I done heard too many stories about people talking about, my recruiter didn't tell me this and he didn't tell me that, or she lied to me, blah, 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 blah. We ain't gonna really jump into that part because I know people been getting finessed since the beginning of the time. I'm really gonna talk about like the structure of the military and then the hierarchy. A lot of it makes sense, a lot of it doesn't, but one thing I know for sure, two things I know for certain, I'm not gonna be able to change that. You're not gonna be able to change that. As far as the hierarchy go, like if it's a second class to a first class, that first class going, for the most part, all depending on what it is, it can be case by case basis. But for the most part, that first class is gonna be in the right. First class to a chief, so on and so forth, right? We're gonna talk about the hierarchy, we're gonna talk about that structure. Again, this that part that recruiter really don't go into, right? You might be checking into a brand new command and you really might have a super strict chain of command. For me, I'm an OS, right? So I'll be checking in my OSC or my OS senior chief or my OS master chief, my AOPS, ops, so on and so forth, right? That whole chain of command might be to the T, by the book, so on and so forth. If I'm 19 and I ain't never really dealt with that type of structure, it will be challenging. I don't care what nobody says. Even if you grew up in a household and your mom or your daddy was prior military, when it's you, it's still kind of challenging. But how do you maneuver through that? How do you deal with that? So I might have talked about it. I'm not really 1,000% sure. But I've been to DRB. I've been to court, not court martial, actually, kind of court martial. Another story, another day. But I've did X or Y, I've did Captain Mass. It's a lot of times some of the mistakes that I was making, they were small in my mind at that particular time. But at the end of the day, it was straight up disrespect. It was disobeying a lawful order. It was challenging, my upper chain of command. And for the most part, they just wasn't going for it. I came in 2007. I really didn't even have a whole lot of conversations with my chief. So for the people that's coming in now that's seeing this, they're like, "Well, I talk to my chief all the time." Again, I'm a OG when it comes down to this, but I still understand like the structure, how everything going. So again, this is just my take. So we're gonna say brand new Seaman Joe Smo just checked on board, right? And that's a third class that's been only on board for 4 months, but he got third class right out of A school. One month Seaman Joe Smo, 4 months Petty Officer Smith. Petty Officer Smith is still in charge of Seaman Joe Smo. Seaman Joe Smo say, "Hey, Petty Officer Smith, you haven't really been on board that long. You don't really got your qualifications. We've been in the yard, so on and so forth. I really don't got to listen to you. I'd rather listen to second class Petty Officer, whatever, right?" Me, outside looking at it, I could be like, I can get that. But the structure of the military says, no, you're going to follow that order from a petty officer. Regardless of how petty that may sound, but that's really still the structure of the military. Now, most people, they sort of kind of sweep that under the rug, like, oh, it's a third class, oh, it's a second class, oh, it's a first class. But when they get to the chief, it get a little bit sticky, right? But for the most part, Them second class and below, they were like, whatever. But you get some second classes that actually know what's going on and know those articles, right? That UCMJ stuff, and be like, nah, we're gonna dress you down. We're gonna put you at attention. Or parade rest and dress you down. That doesn't happen a lot no more. Matter of fact, if it still does happen, it's so far few in between it even sounds crazy, even me saying that. I've seen people literally get in trouble for trying to correct another sailor. I've seen people get in trouble for trying to correct another sailor. And it sort of kind of come in our job description as a petty officer. It's this new Navy. I can't say I agree with everything, but it is what it is. What is the impact of a highly structured environment, i.e., the military, on your personal life and freedom? What does that actually look like? Do you actually have a freedom of speech? Do you still have a personal life? Can you still do whatever it is that you want to do? Of course, but to a certain degree, to a certain extent. Picture this caption: Navy sailors gets into blah, 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 blah. Navy sailor, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you decide to do out of uniform, out of work, I'll be no longer Ronaldo Allen. I'm a Navy sailor, beats, blah, 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 blah. You'll be whatever your first and last name is once you get the captain mass and court martial. But if it ever make it to the news, it's Navy sailor filling the rest of the headline. So yeah, you got a personal life. You got freedom to a certain degree. And if anybody says otherwise, tell them to try their luck. It was a couple of years ago. It was this chick when one of the presidents took over. She didn't agree with him. She in uniform. It was a camera. Somehow or another, it was a camera on. They caught her in uniform saying she don't really rock with the president like that. She was saying some other like wild stuff too, but they caught her on camera. Yo, Shorty was out of the Navy in like less than a month. Less than a month. Now she entitled to her own opinion, but you better not have that opinion on why you in uniform talking about your commander in chief. You better take that somewhere else. It's different. As much as you would want to do some of the things, quote unquote, that civilians do, I personally have not met one person that when they were signing up for the military read their whole contract. That told you everything that you can and can't do. So that UCMJ thing, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, it's almost 140, or it might be over 140 articles. The one that the people in the Navy that I've been, you know what I'm saying, caught up on is, I think, like chapter 10, like those the punitive articles. That's the UAs and falsifying official documents. Like that's those. But again, it's almost 140. Yo, they cover a lot of different things. Now, I'm not legal. I'm not a paralegal. I don't know all the ins and outs behind that stuff. But I promise you, whatever route that you decide to go, I'm pretty sure that's an article that say, hey, either yes, you can do this or no, you can't do that. Again, when you coming in, the Navy got a zero tolerance for drugs, right? But I've known people that popped on the piss test and still in. I've also known people that popped on the piss test and got kicked out immediately. All depending on where you at. All depending on what you got going on. I've seen people get into fights and got a slap on the wrist. I've seen people get in a fight and got booted out. I've seen people getting in yelling matches with their upper chain of command. I've also seen people get in yelling matches with their upper chain of command and got processed out. Call it cap, call it whatever you want to call it. But again, this is my story. These are the things that I've seen. So all depending on your chain of command, somebody could push that thing to the max, or somebody could be like, we'll just write them up, send them the DRB. Hopefully he or she learns their lesson, and then we'll just move on to the next thing. Again, I can almost guarantee you, your recruiter not having these type of conversations with you. They trying to get you in, fill out their paperwork, get their numbers up, get you out of their system, and work on that next person. Then when you get to the ship and you're having a hard time trying to figure this thing out, then that's when stuff is going to hit the fan. Then you start realizing, hey, what the UCMJ actually covers. Why they always talking about, put them on paperwork, put them on paperwork, put them on paperwork. Because after 3 counseling checks for the same thing, now you a repeat offender. Here go DRB. Here go X or Y. Here go Captain Mass. Here go reduction in rate. Here go blah 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 blah. The list goes on. I hope y'all get what y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Again, they got things in place for a reason, but nobody really talk about that until 9 times out of 10 you're actually facing it now. The challenges of even adjusting to that new social dynamic is crazy. Again, when you 18, 19, 20, when you're in high school, all your teachers older than you. They're adults. They real adults. Even in college, most of those professors, granted, I didn't go to college, but most of those professors was older. I think now this is like some of the youngest professors I've ever seen. I was talking to a reservist actually a couple of weeks ago, 27 years old, whole professor at the college. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, if I'm just graduating high school, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 23, all depending on what I'm going to school for, bro, I'm putting up on my professor if we close in age. That's just a me thing, right? But again, everything is changing. So when you're trying to figure out what that dynamic is, fresh out of high school, bro, it's gonna be challenging. Sis, it's gonna be challenging. And you don't really understand what those challenges are until you're being faced with them. And guess what? The other seaman or that other third class that just came in, they don't know how to maneuver through that as well. Again, I don't have all of those answers for you. What I'm trying to do is just give you a heads up that say, hey, you're gonna be meeting with some roadblocks that you might want to be prepared for. If your mom and your dad and your uncle, your brother, your cousin, somebody in the military, like, hey, have you ever dealt with X, Y, and Z? How do you deal with that? How do you move past that? Because what I was doing when I first came in did not work. It did not work. What I'm doing now, it works, right? But this is after 17 years of trial and error. So again, what worked for me may very well might not work for you. But just understand you will be faced with challenges. You most definitely will. And again, I can promise you, your recruiter not talking about this. Matter of fact, even when you check into your new command, they not talking about this. They not gonna talk about it until something happens. The Navy is very good, not the Navy. A lot of commands are very good with being reactive. Very good at being reactive. But if you start asking those questions early, you can sort of kind of start getting your toolbox ready for, hey, when these things do come up, because they will come up, even if it ain't for you directly, one of your counterparts may have to go through it. You at least be able to have something to give them to put in their tool bag to maneuver through that. My tool bag was empty. And my brother was in the Navy. Shout out to Big Bro. My brother got kicked out for being an officer up. So you think I'm about to pick up the phone and call, bro, and ask him how he deal with this, you know what I'm saying, with these challenges? Probably not. And I love him to death. I'm sliding for my brother. But when you start looking at that circle and you realizing, hey, some of these folks really just not equipped, you gotta have to start looking elsewhere. There's people that every command, I don't care where you go to, that's literally more than capable, more than willing to give you the information that you need. But closed mouth don't get fed. It's gonna be challenging, right? Dealing with that new dynamics. Hypothetically speaking, let's just say you coming at 29, right? You done had a mortgage, probably coming in, wife, kids in school, the whole 9. Your chief the same age as you. He just happened to come in at 19. So he got 10 years above you, but y'all the same exact age. Y'all literally going through the same exact thing. But don't let that age thing get you messed up. You still a baby to this military thing. And he's still a chief. Matter of fact, even if it's a second class, he still got 10 years or she still got 10 years on you. Yo, that the dynamics of that, even to this day, still messes me up. It's a first class that I worked with in my building. He's 23 years old. Only been in the Navy 6 years. I've been in for 17. He probably gonna put on chief real soon. And if you put on chief, guess what? I'm gonna have to listen to bro. Crazy dynamics. Me today, I understand how to maneuver through that. Gotta give him that respect. And again, going back to that UCMJ, matter of fact, even when you re-enlisting, you signing up and say, "Hey, I will obey the orders of those appointed over me." Everybody that's appointed over me, and those orders that be given, that's what they talking about. And if you don't do that, read another article from UCMJ. The dope thing about the UCMJ, I don't know if it's good or bad, right? They got one article, 134. It's a general, but I call it the catch-all. Because if they can't hit you for this, they can't hit you for that. They're just gonna say, "Hey, 134, we just gonna catch them for everything that we can't put a name or number on. Here you go." Again, I can almost guarantee you your recruiter not telling you about these things. And hopes, in our reality, they hope that you don't have to deal with any of it. Honestly, that's what I'm gonna say that they're doing. They're hoping that you never have to go through that. But the reality is, most of all of us going to. We're gonna have to sign a page 13 for something. And if you break that page 13 at UCMJ, one of them orders gonna fall up under that. So again, me doing this is not to scare you. This is prepare you, get you equipped for the thing that you will be facing, because you will be facing it. Again, even if it's not you, little bro, even if it's not your little sis, your counterparts that's working directly next to you, they might have to go through that. My thing is, when people was asking me questions and I didn't have the answer, I always felt some type of way. But that was just a me thing. Now somebody asks me a question. If I don't know the answer, I'm gonna take them to where they can go get it from. But that's a me thing. Discipline is key when it comes down to this military thing. They have a hierarchy for a reason. It ain't going nowhere. I don't care how much you hoot, holler, and scream. It's not going nowhere. You don't got no discipline and you can't figure out how to conform, and they be gonna get you up out of there. Literally, I think they got something called failure to comply, failure to conform, or something like that in one of the UCMJ articles. They can get you kicked out for that. Again, this ain't to scare y'all, right? If you think about coming in, this ain't to scare y'all. This is hey, these are some of the things that you may face, and if you're already in and you haven't faced it yet, press stand by to stand by. Again, that's a me thing. So yeah, that's I know for a fact those are things that they not talking about in MEPS. That's not what they talking about when you getting off the plane in Chicago, because you got so much other stuff that you got to go through. Even in boot camp, I haven't been through boot camp in 17, almost 18 years. I don't really know what they talking about, but I could tell how some of these sailors coming into the fleet, they still ain't talking about it. Not how they acting. Call me the old guy. Call me the guy that don't know what he talking about. Cool. I've been doing it for 17 years though. At some point in time, I had to figure something out. But that's me. I digress. Yo, again, I appreciate y'all. My name is Ronaldo Allen. This is Everything in Between. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Hey, Big Bro really out here doing this thing. Cuz, OG really out here talking that talk. I hope that y'all find something in this that y'all can use, that y'all can share, that can help y'all personal and professional life grow. I had a conversation random. I had a conversation with a dude a couple of days ago, and I told him I might not ever make chief. He said, "Bro, based off this conversation, you were supposed to be a chief a long time ago." I said, "Hey, that may be the case, right? But I'd never be the person that's gonna sit there cry and wallow over something that I didn't get." One thing I know for sure, two things like for certain: whatever God got for me, but ain't no man on the planet of the earth that's gonna be able to take that away. I understand that now. I got faith. And again, me saying that, it ain't even me just coming to terms with it. I'm just like, I get it, right? Maybe Chief wasn't part of my story, but the people that's coming behind me, I can't wait for y'all to get there. I can't wait for y'all to put in the officer package and get picked up, because the roadblock that I was telling y'all was gonna come, when they come, you like, ooh, already told me about this. Oh yeah, already told me about this. I saw this coming. I actually started prepping myself for this, right? But that's up to y'all. This right here is all me planting seeds, but y'all gonna have to water that garden. All right. So again, my name is Ronaldo Allen. This is Everything Between. If you see me in the streets, Uncle OG, as long as you don't call me out my name, you all right with me. So in the meantime, between time, man, y'all stay safe, y'all stay prayed up, and y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay cool. I'll catch y'all on the next one. All right. Peace. So now that first part out the way, let me tell y'all what I really want to say. Bruh, shout out to all the recruiters out there, right? But the recruiter's job is to recruit you and get you in this military. They don't have to go through all that extra shit. That ain't what they there to do. They there to get you in and send you on your goddamn way. Now it's up to you, little bro, little sis, to understand the shit that's in place, how this shit operate. Because that second class, that first class, that chief, they already got a bunch of shit going on any goddamn way. They don't got time to hold your hand like your mom and your daddy used to do. And if you married, they don't got time to hold your hand like your wife or your husband used to do. They don't care. Some of them got a wife, a mistress, girlfriend, baby mama, new baby on the way. They don't care about Seaman Joe Schmo. They don't care about second class that's only been in the Navy for 2 years, Joe Schmo. They don't care. I take that back. It's a lot of them that do, but it's a lot of them that really just don't. So what are you going to do to change that? It's a rank structure in place for a fucking reason. If you're talking to somebody that's above you and you feel like you got an attitude, if they want to dress you down, guess what? They can. And if you don't want to go for it, hey, look up those UCMJ articles. That 134 is a real thing. It's a catch-all. Disobeying a lawful order, disobeying a superior officer, it's a real thing. But that's a 45-45. Y'all play crazy if y'all want to. Ain't nobody gonna be checking on when you got them 30 days. EMI, restriction. And that shit be ass. Again, I've been doing this for 17 years. I don't got all the answers, but I done did a bunch of dumb shit. And I done overcame it. I done disrespect a lot of superior people. I got smacked in my face for it too. But I done overcame it. I ain't telling y'all to do none of that shit. I highly advise you to not even get into it at all. I promise you, it's way easier just to bite your goddamn tongue. Promise you that. But this career, this military thing, this journey that y'all walking on, this y'all career. Don't know what the hell he talking about. Don't listen to me. But for the ones that's all, bro, listen, you better ask somebody. If you unsure, ask somebody. They got legal at every command. They got YNs that's supposed to understand that at every command. And if they don't got them, they got somebody there at every command that's supposed to know that. And if not, guess what you could do? Google. Read that shit yourself. Again, this is your career. Whether you do 4, 8, 16, 30, it don't matter. Eventually, you're going to have to get out. But while you in, this shit could be as easy as you make it or as hard as you make it. I made my first 10 and a half years hard as hell because I wasn't trying to listen to nobody. And again, nobody was having these type of conversations with me, though. Y'all got a cheat code. Use me. I digress. Again, my name is Ronaldo Allen. This is everything in between. I'm passionate about this shit. But you don't got to listen to them. Again, I'm going to tell y'all every episode, click off, never fucking come back. I'm cool. But for the people that's going to decide to stay, or take heed. Take heed. Gone.